Carlos Santana is a global music icon.
At 77, Carlos Santana is revealing the shocking truths behind his life that we all suspected, but never fully knew. What's been hidden for years is finally coming to light, and you won't believe what shocking truths is he ready to share? Stay tuned to uncover the untold story of his personal journey. Carlos Santana's life struggles. Carlos Santana's journey began in southern Mexico, where life took a dramatic turn at 7 when his family moved to Tijuana. It was a harsh introduction to survival, selling gum, shining shoes, and singing Mexican folk songs to make ends meet. Santana's father, a bar musician, soon discovered his son's natural talent for the guitar and took him along to perform in rough saloons. Amid the dim lights and dirt floors, young Santana witnessed the harsh realities of life, like a police officer assaulting a woman. It was a world that left him unsettled. By 14, Santana had seen enough. He struck out on his own, playing guitar in strip clubs from late afternoon to the early hours, earning a meager $9 a week. The environment numbed him to the allure of sensuality. "It's like watching an assembly job," he said later. Yet even in such a bleak setting, he held on to a profound truth. Innocence is the most beautiful thing, but darkness found him elsewhere. During this time, an American man lured Santana with food, clothes, and toys, only to exploit him. The routine abuse continued until one day, a slap jolted Santana into seeing the man for who he truly was, a sick individual. That moment marked an end to the abuse and a step toward reclaiming his life. As a teenager, Santana's world was uprooted again when his family moved to San Francisco. He hated the change. "I could eat and sleep when I wanted. Now I'm supposed to sit with kids talking nonsense?" he vented. The frustration boiled over when he discovered his hard-earned savings, meant for immigration papers and a new guitar, had been spent by his mother on rent and his sister's dental work. Furious, Santana fled back to Tijuana, returning to strip club life. A year later, his family kidnapped him back to San Francisco, forcing him to face a new chapter. Santana's talent soon caught fire. By 1967, he was leading the Santana Blues Band, impressing legends like Steve Miller and Howlin' Wolf. Opportunities to tour with The Who and others seemed within reach. But just as his career was about to soar, life threw another curveball. Santana was diagnosed with tuberculosis. For 3 months, he endured painful treatments at San Francisco General Hospital, even finishing high school while bedridden. Even with the setback, Santana emerged determined, his guitar waiting for his return. In 1972, Santana discovered a spiritual calling through Sri Chinmoy, a guru whose picture radiated a profound energy. Under Chinmoy's guidance, Santana transformed his life, embracing what he called a spiritual boot camp. But the sweetness of enlightenment turned sour over the years. By 1977, Santana began questioning Chinmoy's treatment of followers, feeling that what used to be honey was now vinegar. He left the guru's fold, taking his wife with him years later. Although their relationship ended bitterly, Santana still holds a place for Chinmoy in his heart, even as the guru distanced others from him. What if his darkest moments led to his greatest musical breakthroughs? Let's dive into how his personal struggles shaped his sound. How did personal tragedies shape Santana's music? Carlos Santana's journey is a testament to resilience, creativity, and the power of reinvention. Rising to fame with a groundbreaking sound, Santana's first 3 albums, Santana, Abraxas, and Santana 3, blended jazz, Latin rhythms, and psychedelic rock into something entirely new and captivating. These records achieved tremendous success, with Santana going double platinum, and both Abraxas and Santana 3 topping the Billboard 200 and earning quintuple and double platinum certifications respectively. Santana's unique sound and extraordinary guitar skills quickly established him as a force to be reckoned with in the music world. By the time his 4th album, Caravanserai, was ready for release in 1972, Santana was undergoing profound personal and professional changes. He had begun exploring spirituality, which influenced his music and life choices. But this shift did not sit well with Columbia Records. Caravanserai was a stark departure from the smooth, radio-friendly tunes that defined his earlier work. The album was an experimental jazz record with minimal vocals, a bold artistic leap that Columbia president Clive Davis famously referred to as In spite of the label's doubts, Caravanserai was released and became a top 10 hit. It marked a turning point in Santana's career, demonstrating his commitment to artistic authenticity over commercial considerations. Santana's experimentation continued, but it created friction with his record label. In 1974, his live album Lotus faced a similar fate. Originally planned as a 3 LP set, Columbia deemed it too expensive and risky for the US market, restricting its release to Japan. American fans could only access it as an expensive import until a CD reissue in 1991. The lack of availability in his home country dampened Santana's momentum and focused on the challenges he faced in balancing creative pursuits with industry expectations. The 1990s were particularly challenging for Santana. His albums during this time failed to achieve commercial success. Spirits Dancing in the Flesh. In 1990, his third consecutive record to miss gold or platinum certification marked the end of his long partnership with Columbia Records, which had been his label since the late 1960s. His 1992 release, Milagro, under Polydor Records, also flopped, leading to his departure from the label. By the mid-1990s, Santana was without a record deal. He later described this period as one of despair, compounded by the death of his father, musician Jose Santana. The grief was so intense that even listening to music became unbearable for him. "I was numb," he admitted. During this difficult time, his then-wife, Deborah King Santana, encouraged him to reach out to Clive Davis, who had moved to Arista Records. Santana's willingness to take this step set the stage for one of the most remarkable comebacks in music history. The result was Supernatural, a 1999 album featuring collaborations with younger pop and rock stars. It was a massive success, selling over 13 million copies and producing hits like Smooth, a 12-week Billboard Hot 100 chart topper. The album also earned Santana 8 Grammy Awards at the 42nd Grammy Awards in 2000, tying the record for the most Grammys won in a single night. Santana's comeback was complete, reaffirming his relevance and creativity in a changing music landscape. Santana's artistic evolution was closely tied to his spiritual journey. In the early 1970s, Guru Sri Chinmoy gave him and his wife new spiritual names. Santana became Devadip, meaning Lamp of God, and Deborah became Urmila, meaning Light of the Supreme. Santana's music from this era reflected his spiritual beliefs, with albums like Oneness, Silver Dreams, Golden Reality in 1979 and The Swing of Delight in 1980, released under the name Devadeep Carlos Santana. Chinmoy's influence extended to the album artwork, and Santana credited the guru with providing spiritual guidance during a transformative period in his life. But their association ended in 1981, and Santana reverted to his original name. Even with the ups and downs of his career, Santana remained one of the most accomplished and versatile artists in modern music. His talent and dedication were recognized early on, with his first Grammy Award coming in 1987 for his solo album, Blues for Salvador. But it was the overwhelming success of Supernatural that cemented his legacy. The album not only revitalized his career, but also introduced his music to a new generation of fans. Santana was initially surprised by his Grammy wins and kept his acceptance speeches brief, often just saying "thank you" before walking off stage. Nonetheless, the night remains a cherished memory, symbolizing the culmination of decades of hard work and perseverance. While Santana's music journey soared to new heights, how did his personal and married life impact his path in unexpected ways? Come with us to know. Carlos Santana's married life. Carlos Santana has always been a family-oriented person, with a life full of both personal and professional accomplishments. Growing up in a large family, Santana was one of 7 children, living with 4 sisters and 2 brothers in a home with just 2 bedrooms. In spite of the cramped living conditions, Santana shares that his childhood was full of shared experiences and struggles. As an adult, Carlos himself became a father to 3 children, Salvador, Stella, and Angelica. He even named his 1987 album Blues for Salvador after his son, underscoring the deep connection he had with his children. Santana's first marriage was to Deborah, whom he wed in 1973. They were together for 34 years, navigating the highs and lows of his career. But their marriage ended in 2007, and Santana found himself emotionally adrift. A few years later, in 2010, Santana married Cindy Blackman, his band's drummer. The proposal was a unique moment. Santana popped the question on stage during a performance in Chicago, right after Blackman finished a drum solo. The crowd cheered as they shared an onstage kiss. Santana and Blackman now live together in Las Vegas, continuing to share both their lives and their music. Beyond his personal life, Santana is known for his generosity and philanthropy. In 1998, he founded the Milagro Foundation, which supports underprivileged children and youth in arts, education, and health. Through this foundation, Santana has contributed to various causes. For example, after the devastating earthquakes in Mexico in 2017, he donated $100,000 to the Save the Children Foundation to assist the recovery efforts. In 2020, as the world grappled with the COVID-19 pandemic, Santana and Cindy Blackman teamed up with other charities to record a cover of John Lennon's Imagine, raising funds for those affected. In the same year, Santana launched the Carlos Santana Coffee Company, with proceeds from sales going to support Milagro's work with underprivileged youth. He's also been a lifelong user of cannabis, a topic he has been open about. In 2020, he launched his own cannabis brand, Mirayo, which means my ray and my lightning in Spanish. Santana has always believed in the spiritual benefits of cannabis, particularly in helping people achieve a higher consciousness. His belief is rooted in his family's history, as his mother used cannabis extracts for pain relief. Santana has made it clear that any profits from his cannabis brand will go toward helping the Mexican and Native American communities. Santana's humanitarian efforts also extend to his business ventures. In 2007, he opened his first restaurant, Maria Maria, in Walnut Creek, California, which serves authentic Pan-Mexican cuisine. The restaurants became a hit, and at their peak, there were 5 locations across the U.S. All profits from the restaurants went to his Milagro Foundation. Though some locations have since closed, Santana's commitment to philanthropy through his business ventures remains strong. In spite of his success, Santana's life has not been without its dark moments. After his divorce from Deborah in 2007, he struggled with deep emotional pain. The failure of his marriage, along with memories of abuse he suffered as a child, led Santana to a dark place, even contemplating times. He credits his spirituality with helping him overcome these difficult moments. Santana believes that personal growth comes through facing life's darkest moments. You have to go through the darkest night of the soul to get to the brightest light of the day, he has said. Forgiving his abuser was a key part of his healing, and he continues to advocate for the power of forgiveness as a means of liberation. Could the struggles in Santana's marriage be a mere reflection of the deeper tensions he faced in his relationship with his mother? Let's us tell you. Carlos Santana's tragic relationship with his mother. After winning 8 Grammys in one night, Carlos Santana seemed to have it all: fame, money, and a long, successful career. But behind this success was a deeply personal struggle, that is his difficult relationship with his mother, Josefina. As Santana was raised in a household where his father was mostly absent, his mother played a central role in his upbringing. But this bond was not without tension. Josefina was a strict, authoritarian figure, and Carlos often felt more intimidated than nurtured by her. Her way of managing the household was through control and discipline, and as a result, their home life was far from peaceful. Santana himself described his mother as someone who commanded attention as soon as she entered a room, often making the household feel more like a place of fear than a sanctuary of love. Her presence alone could make everyone quiet and pay attention. As Santana matured, the strain between them became more pronounced. The tension continued to grow as he entered his teenage years, and their emotional distance deepened. By the time Carlos was an adult, their relationship had suffered irreparable damage, and they went through a period of estrangement that lasted nearly 2 decades and led to a painful and emotionally charged separation. The turning point in their relationship came when Santana was sexually assaulted by a family friend. Instead of providing him with the support and comfort he desperately needed, his mother's response was cold and indifferent. She chose to tell his siblings about the assault, making Carlos feel as though the trauma he had endured was somehow his fault. This reaction deeply wounded him, creating an emotional chasm between them that was difficult to bridge. Santana later reflected that he couldn't understand why his mother didn't acknowledge the wrong done to him. Years passed before Carlos was able to consider forgiving his mother. After much reflection, he decided to attempt reconciliation. But when he tried to express his feelings and forgive her for the past, his mother's response was less than understanding. Her face, he said, immediately turned into a fierce expression, as if ready to defend herself, and she asked him, "What do you have to forgive me for?" This defensive reaction only deepened the wound, as it showed Carlos that his mother wasn't able to see things from his perspective. He felt rejected and misunderstood once again. Despite this setback, Carlos didn't give up. Over time, the love he still had for his mother pushed him to continue trying to rebuild their relationship. He eventually dedicated his memoir, The Universal Tone, to her, acknowledging her deep love for him. In the book, he mentioned that she probably prayed for him more than anyone else to help him avoid losing his way in life. This was a sign that in spite of their struggles, there was still a bond between them that couldn't be severed. What hidden realities of life Carlos revealed in interviews? Come with us to know. Carlos Santana finally spoke out. Carlos Santana, the legendary guitarist, recently opened up about his painful past and his journey toward healing, particularly focusing on the 2 years of sexual abuse he endured as a child. In an emotional interview with People magazine, Santana, now 75, shared his experiences and the spiritual growth that allowed him to forgive those who had wronged him. Santana's path to forgiveness was not an easy one. He had kept the traumatic events of his childhood hidden for many years. The abuse took place when he was between the ages of 10 and 12, at the hands of an American tourist who befriended his parents. The man, who would cross the border into Mexico, would bring Santana toys and gifts, only to later betray his trust in horrific ways. In a 2000 Rolling Stone interview, Santana first opened up about the abuse, describing how it occurred almost every day during that time. His disclosure was a significant step in breaking the silence surrounding such sensitive issues. In the People interview, Santana shared that he had learned to look at those who wronged him with a sense of understanding and compassion, seeing them as 5 or 6 years old. Santana described his process of visualizing his abuser as a child, surrounded by light, and offered the choice to send him to either hell or the light. He explained that choosing to send him to the light would allow him to move on without the burden of anger, showing that forgiveness does not absolve the wrongdoer, but frees the one who forgives. Santana's journey of forgiveness was grounded in a belief he holds strongly: hurt people hurt people. He recognizes that the pain inflicted on him was not a reflection of his own worth, but rather a result of the abuser's unresolved pain. Through this understanding, Santana was able to let go of the pain that had been weighing him down. He emphasized the importance of releasing negative emotions, saying that holding on to hurt only perpetuates suffering. In spite of the turmoil and darkness he had faced, Santana now chooses to focus on the light and joy that music has brought him. In the interview, he expressed how the childlike wonder he still feels for life has kept him grounded, saying that a 7-year-old Carlos still looks at the world with curiosity, asking, "What are we going to get into today?" His music, he shared, is a source of hope and courage for his fans, offering comfort and validation for their existence. His goal, he said, is to use his platform to share his experiences and inspire others who are facing their own challenges. Through his music and his public life, Santana continues to promote the importance of love, understanding, and forgiveness. And that's the shocking truth behind Carlos Santana's journey to forgiveness and the struggles he faced. Do you think his path to healing could have been different? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to click the on-screen cards for more intriguing celebrity stories. Thanks for watching.